So now when we talk about the Shari'ah definition of Tawheed, I need to find a better way to do this. Okay. So in the Shari'ah, okay, we can have more than one definition we can use, but the most jami' mani' definition is, we say, ifrad Allah or ifradullah tabarak wa ta'ala fi jami'i huquqih. Meaning exclusivity to Allah okay, exclusivity to Almighty Allah in all of His rights. Okay. So exclusivity to Almighty Allah in all of His rights. Okay, you can find other definitions as well. Okay, but this encompasses all of them. Okay, this is a good definition, encompasses all of them. Okay, especially if you understand what His rights are, and I'll elaborate on that inshallah in a moment. Okay, some of the other definitions, people they will say ifradullah fil ibad, ifradullah fil ibadah, do exclusivity to Allah in worship exclusively. Okay, but this is not jami', it's not comprehensive enough, because there are other aspects of Tawheed which are not included in this. Okay, you could also say that the Tawheed is to comprehend, believe and submit exclusively to Almighty Allah in His supremacy, His names and attributes, and in all sayings, actions and convictions. This is another jami' mani' definition of the Tawheed. Okay, so to comprehend, believe and submit exclusively to Almighty Allah, His supremacy, His names and attributes, and all sayings, actions and convictions. Okay. Okay. And that is a good definition as well. I'm thinking about whether to put it up or not. We'll leave it for the time being. But does anybody need me to repeat that? Have you written it down? Oh, in this one, yeah? Okay. The second one, second definition. No? Yeah. So this is one definition: exclusivity to Allah in all of His rights. Okay. Another definition is to comprehend, and I'll put it on the board. I'll put this one on the board. Okay. The second definition you can put, okay, a little bit longer. We can say is to comprehend. Believe and submit to Almighty Allah His supremacy, names, attributes, names and attributes in all sayings, actions and convictions. Okay, so this is the second definition you can use for Tawheed, and elaborates on a couple of other points as well in this one. Okay, talking about to comprehend, believe and submit to Allah Ta'ala, because this is very important for us to understand. You know, in order for us to establish the Tawheed, that we need to fulfill, certain aspects of our submission to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. We need to have idrak, iqrar wa ifrad. Okay, to really establish the Tawheed, we need to have al-idrak. Allah Ta'ala says, فَعَلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهِ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Idrak means to comprehend, to know. So you need to know that Allah Ta'ala is exclusive. You must, when you worship Allah, you worship Him knowing that you are worshipping Allah, not by accident. So you need to know and comprehend that there is none worthy of worship beside Allah. And you need to believe and submit to that. Allah Ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَكِتَابِهِ. He said, oh, you who believe in Allah and His Messenger and His book. So we need to believe. Somebody could know it, but they reject and they disbelieve. Okay, like some of the mushrikeen, they knew Allah. Some people, they knew Allah Ta'ala was the only one worthy to be worshipped, but they refused to give up their idols, like Abu Talib. Okay, so if you don't submit to it and accept it and declare it and act upon it, okay, and worship Allah exclusively, then you won't really have established the Tawheed. So it's not enough just somebody just to know, say that he knows Allah is the only one worthy of worship, but despite that, he votes for an MP, or he worships the grave, or he worships an idol, despite knowing Allah is the only one worthy to be worshipped. If he does that, he is not muwahhid, he doesn't have Tawheed, he's mushrik. Okay, so he needs to have the comprehension, idrak. Let me put these words up, inshallah. I will rub out from the other side actually, I will elaborate on this for you now. Okay, so to establish the Tawheed, we need al-idrak. Okay, we need al-idrak, to comprehend. Or to know. Because Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Muhammad verse 19 that know فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Know that there is none worthy of worship beside Allah. Okay, in Surah Muhammad verse 19. So you need to know what you're talking about. To really actually have Tawheed, you must comprehend the Tawheed. You must know and understand it. Okay, and one of the best explanations for why you must have that knowledge and understanding that I found was, Shaykh Umar explained it one way, when you talk about the Shahada. When you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, what does that mean? What does that testimony of faith really mean? Ashhadu means I testify, I bear witness. That what? La ilaha illallah. La means no, there is none, there is no ilah. Illa, except Allah. Okay, so we're left with two words, ilah and Allah. What is an ilah and who is Allah? If somebody does not know who Allah is, nor does he know what an ilah is, what does it mean to be worshipped? What is worship? He doesn't know. How does he know he's worshipping Allah and not shaitan? If he doesn't know who Allah is, he can worship anybody and think it's Allah. Like the Christians, they worship Isa and they think he's Allah. They think he is God. Okay? The Buddhists, they worship Buddha and they think he is God. However much they think, no, they don't believe in a God. No, they believe in it. They worship, they follow, they obey. Maybe they don't know what worship is. Some people, they say, no, we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we just go for judgment to the Tawheed. That means he never understood what an ilah is, what worship is. If you say there is no ilah except for Allah, that means you believe that there's nobody can give judgment or legislate laws except for Allah. لا مشرع إلا الله لا مطاع إلا الله لا متبوع إلا الله لا معبود إلا الله. That's what we're saying. When we say La ilaha illallah, we're saying there is no legislator except for Allah. There is none worthy of worship beside Allah, or being followed instead of Allah, or being obeyed instead of Allah. If you don't comprehend and understand what you're saying when you say, we give Allah all of His rights, that Allah Ta'ala is exclusive, If we don't know it and understand it, we'll never achieve it. So, what was the thing? This shahada, when we say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, okay, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, if you don't know what you're testifying to, what kind of testimony is that? How can you testify to something and you don't know it? You know, if we went to court, any court, Islamic Shari'ah court or even a man-made court, any court at all, just simple common sense, and I say, I'm a witness, I will testify. Let me testify as a witness. I testify that Abu Saifullah, he did so-and-so action. So you testify, yes. And who is Abu Saifullah? I don't know. And what did he do exactly? I don't know, but he did it. I know he did it. I don't know what he did, but he did it. And it was him, he's guilty. Okay? Let's say he said, oh, he stole a car. Yeah, he stole a car. I testify, I bear witness. And so what does the car look like? I said, I don't know. How do you know he stole it? I don't know, but he stole it. Do you even know what a car is? I don't know what a car is, but he stole one. What kind of witness? Nobody would accept his testimony. He's testifying to something he has no knowledge about whatsoever. You can only testify to something if you know it. If you know what you're talking about. So if you don't have this al-idrak, if you don't have comprehension and knowledge, you don't know what it means to worship, and you don't know who Allah is, then how can you testify that there's none worthy to be worshipped except for Allah? You can't. So you must know. When we say exclusivity to Allah in all of His rights, you need to know what His rights are. You need to know what they are. Otherwise you'll end up giving His rights to somebody else. And that's what happens nowadays. People say, we worship Allah, akhi, but I make dua to Abdul Qadir Jilani. You didn't understand, this is the right of Allah. You don't make dua to anybody except for Him. He said, I worship Allah, but we are going to the parliaments and we're going to stand as an MP in the elections. That's because you never understood the right of Allah. You cannot be muwahid unless you have this knowledge, basic knowledge of what's the asl al-deen, the foundation of the deen. You enter Islam by testifying that there's none worthy of worship beside Allah. If you never knew what that meant, your shahada was meaningless. It meant nothing. Okay? We wouldn't even call him an apostate. Why? Because he never really understood in the first place. He never really became Muslim. We say, okay, look, he never not become Muslim, but now we teach him, now he's become Muslim. Okay? So, al-idrak is the first thing. You must have this comprehension. Okay? You must have the understanding and knowledge. And you need to have as well al-iqrar. Okay. Okay. We need to have submission. Okay. Okay. I'll put his submission and belief. Okay. Not only belief, but acceptance as well. Okay. And here you can put here 4136 as one evidence. Allah ordered us, O you who believe in Allah and His Messenger and His books. So not only do you understand and know what the kalima and the Tawheed means, you know who Allah is and that He's the only one worthy to be worshipped, you know it. But if then you don't submit to it and you continue worshipping other than Allah, whether out of habit or for personal gain or out of fear of the people or out of showing off and riyah, whatever reason you give, if you don't submit and actually say, because Allah is the only one worthy to be worshipped, therefore I will never worship anybody except Him. If you don't do that, then you haven't got the Tawheed. You're not muwahid. You haven't got the Tawheed. You haven't achieved it yet. Okay? You need to submit. You need to, accept it, testify to it, believe in it. You need to submit to it. If you believe Allah is the only one should be obeyed, that means you will never accept any man-made laws. You will never say, but I will obey the man-made laws as well. You will never say that, because he's not muwahid unless he knows and believes in it and submits to it as well. So he needs to have this al-iqrar. And finally, you need to have as well, to establish it, al-ifrad. Okay? Okay? You need to have al-ifrad, exclusivity. Okay, to Allah. Okay, because somebody could, for example, he knows Allah deserves to be worshipped exclusively, and he does, submit in and believe in that, and he does worship Allah, he prays the salah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he doesn't do it exclusively. He prays to Allah and to an idol. Okay, he wears the cloak of Tawheed and Iman, but he's hiding and he's also sharing with that the shirk and the kufr. Okay, he says Allah is the only legislator, but then he also votes and goes to United Nations, and he seeks judgments from the Tawheed. Okay, here we can give one reference, simple one, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. But also, just because of that example I mentioned, 460 is a good one. Okay, Surah 4 verse 60, Allah Ta'ala says, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ يَزْعُمُونَ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. Have you seen those who claim to believe? Okay, they claim to believe in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you. So they know it, and they say to you, yeah, we believe in it. We believe, we accept it. يُرِيدُونَ يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. And yet they seek arbitration to the Tawheed, to other than Allah. They seek judgments from other than Allah. وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا أَن يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ. When they were ordered to reject it, to have disbelief in it. So it could be somebody, they claim to be a Muslim, they say the Shahada and everything else, and yet they start to share with Allah His rights with somebody else. Okay, like by going for judgment to other than Allah.